What's past is prologue. Hell is empty, and all the devils are here. Hey guys, it's Julian here with another anime review. Why are you quoting Shakespeare's Tempest? We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. You know, this kind of sounds like an anime, The Blast of Tempest. So, in our usual standard, let's go take a look at this anime today. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well, awake. The story took me by surprise, just how quickly it drew me in, with its Shakespearean parallels, looming mystery, and a lot of undertone deception and love. Bones has another great anime on their hands, and I love how the anime mixed mystery, action, romance into a really refreshing and new way. The series at its midpoint kind of shifted in the tone from what it was setting up in the first half. While I welcomed the change, it kind of felt off at first. I mean, the first was very headstrong about revenge and being fueled with that, while the second half was more calm and collected. Well, it kind of seemed very different. I mean, a lot of the first half was very emotion-based driven, and again, not to say the second half wasn't, but they didn't let their emotions drive them. It fueled what they did, but they were more calm and collected and rationally thinking about situations and not overreacting like they did in the first half, and acting completely off of instinct. The series has a huge theme of mystery, but the mystery really only lasted about 10 episodes, and then it was fully resolved before coming up to the huge climactic finish for the anime, which really was, I think, a great idea, because then that left the series without any big major plot holes, which I thought was very important. I mean, going into the final battle, we want all these kind of loose ends kind of tied up. I mean, what that kind of does is that means we're not going to get a second season, but at least we're getting a full and complete story at the end, which I believe obviously is always a very important thing. Like I said earlier, the story felt fresh and refreshing in comparison to other animes out there. I mean, like I said, they were more level-headed, but some spoilers ahead, we actually had a lot of misdirection going on. I mean, Yoshino had to carry a huge burden throughout the series, because whenever Mahiro was around, he and Aika, my bad, always had to act like they hated each other, while in secret, they were really in love with one another. And their love was actually really genuine. Like, I love the romantic scenes. And with the first half of the anime, it was really hard to tell what the heck was going on, because we saw a lot of scenes where Yoshino and Aika were really butting heads and really looked like they hated each other, while then we'd quickly flip to another scene where they'd be all romantic with one another. And it left me a lot confused, and again, like with most viewers, we would all be confused as well. But Mahiro and Yoshino are the best of friends, as we see in present day. And after, like I said, a bit of a spoiler alert, Aika dies. And that is a huge turning point for these characters, because Yoshino doesn't know how to basically display his emotions, because on the outside, Mahiro thought that they hated each other, but in actuality, he was deeply in love with her. So he's not allowed to show any emotion there. While Mahiro, on the other hand, gets fueled up by the rage of wanting to carry out revenge and find out who this killer is. And looking at Mahiro's and Yoshino's relationship, again, everyone would have thought, oh, it's a bromance going on here, but they are really good friends, even though they didn't actually quite start out like that as they were kids. Anyway, I do have to say, with all of that mixed in with some Shakespearean ties, I thoroughly enjoyed this anime. My only downside with this is that there isn't currently an English dub, and I wish for those fans that really can only watch an English dub anime that they actually do dub this anime soon, and I'm hoping Funimation, you will do this for us, because I think everyone should be out there to see this anime. Alright, it's time for my favorite segment, Romance Corner. And we're gonna be talking a lot about our man Yoshino because he, ironically, is the center of all of our romances today. So first up, let's talk about Yoshino and Aika. Like I said, on the outside, they had to act like they absolutely hated each other because Mahiro actually did have a crush on his stepsister. Which is a little creepy. But you know what? In all good fashion, they did sidestep this by actually having a relationship behind his back. And they were quite adorable, and they actually looked really well together. However, fate is not in their favor at all, and sadly she has to, spoiler alert, take her own life in order for the future to remain intact. Man, time travel in this whole series is really whack, but in the end it works out, and Yoshino finally, I believe at the end of the series, comes to pass with what had to happen. But that doesn't mean that he is left loveless, because Yoshino and Hakaze is the next couple on my list. And yes, Hakaze is a can of worms. Like I mentioned earlier, time travel is a little weird in this segment, but due to Yoshino's great analytical thinking, he is able to save her from being deserted on an island. Wow, that is pretty impressive. In the entire second half, Hakaze is actually madly in love with him and doesn't quite admit it at first. And her judgment gets hugely clouded because she can only think of him and she can't carry out her duties. Well, by the end of the series, again, another small spoiler, she does lose her powers, but she still is in love with Yoshino and ends up traveling to be with him. While the series does end on a high note because basically all the plot holes do get wrapped up, we don't actually get to see what the relationship between Hakaze and Yoshino actually does become, but I have a strong feeling that they do end up being a couple and do getting married. Too bad for Mahiro, who really doesn't get his love story in this whole series, and there isn't quite a girl for him to fall back on. Oh well. Now on to just 3 reasons why you should be watching this anime. Number 1, it is a thrilling mystery. Like was said earlier, this anime has a great plentiful of mysteries to be solved, and they do a great job wrapping them up, but they have tons of twists and turns for the viewers to enjoy. Number 2, it's an amazing story. Aside from the mystery elements, it's got an action-packed adventure, a looming romance. It has so much for everyone that it just makes an overarching great story. Number 3, it is heartfelt. Like in Romance Corner, how we talked about all the different romances, it's got a lot going on for it, and it will definitely pull at your heartstrings because you really want Yoshino to be happy, and you want him to somehow bring back his dead lover. But he doesn't, but he is still able to find love, and love does drive people in true Shakespearean way. This anime does that so well with its overarching ties to the Shakespearean plays that you really just have to go watch this anime. Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince. In flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. See thee in thy next video. Farewell. Whoa, check it out! We have post-credit scenes now? I wonder if there's gonna be a plot line to our post-credit scenes. Guess you'll have to stay tuned to find out.